teacher who is transitioning into the project-based language immersion methods, the Alive framework of teaching, asked with quite a lot of concern recently, how do I know if I'm preparing the students for the exams, for the assessments? I need to know what's on the assessments so that I can prepare them. And I wanted first, upon hearing this, to just hold her hand and first just say, I'm so sorry you've been through that. That is exactly how we've made teachers feel. We have normalized teaching to the test, even though we use that phrase negatively. We have completely normalized it, enforced it. You could say incentivized it, but I would say enforced it. And teachers have learned to live in fear. What if my students aren't ready for the test? What if my students aren't ready for the test? This is one of the big reasons that I love working in the language education space, is because I think it's a space where we can still save education from some of its worst ideas. Partly because it's not as regulated or incentivized in our field as it is in fields like math and reading. So a lot of language educators, or more accurately, corporations trying to profit in the language education space, have taken this idea of standardized testing and developed versions of it to help us structure our curriculum in the language education space, to which I say, no thanks. It's a terrible idea that's very harmful and makes everyone's experience of learning worse. Let's just stick with being ignored by that system. I would love to be neglected by the heavily standardized testing-based system and the teach to the test mentality. So if you are working in a school that has adopted one of those programs, I'm so sorry, but please know that that's a choice. It's generally not mandated from any outside agency, and it's probably not super helpful to actually optimizing your program. And so if you're adopting the Alive framework, please know you will not be forced into any teach to the test type of mentality. And in fact, we do have 3 levels of assessment that we use, which any good program would use some version of, but it is not what this teacher was thinking when she asked this question. So the first thing to know is that we'll start from the overall view, okay? In lieu of a standardized test, a state annual test, whatever national tests or state tests you might be used to prepping for in other subject areas, what we use is a measure of their communicative competence.